Hello, you beautiful people. It's Sunday, it's the Jaden Show, and I am giving you the best gift this Sunday. We are going to the Netherlands to meet classical composer, just phenomenal artist, incredible guy, César Lüttger. Always say that name wrong, but you will meet him and he will explain to you how to say it very soon. I feel really blessed because not only is he a super incredible guy, but also he's recorded a couple of pieces especially for this show. So without any further ado, I really want to introduce you to some of his music. This is called Willow. What can I say apart from how beautiful? I'm afraid I need a couple of minutes not only to cool down but also to focus because that just took me to another place and I want you to meet him as quick as possible, but I just really need to gather my thoughts while we have a Jaden Show commercial break. See you in a minute. Hey guys, I wanted to take this opportunity to let you know about the Jaden Show commercial break starting now.
This is amazing news because now every single week you have a couple of minutes to be able to advertise something you want to advertise. So if you have a business, if you have an event coming up, if you have a new album, a art gallery, or anything you want to particularly advertise on a show, this is your chance to do it. March and April 2024, the advertisements are free. So please let me know. Get in touch to me on Jaden Cornelious at AOL.com. It will be wonderful to hear from you. If you are a charity or a charitable organization or a non-profit and you are advertising something with regards to that, then always your advertising is free. So let me know. You will need to send me between a 1 and 2 minute video around that time, if possible, something that you want to advertise, and I will fit it into this spot. Get on. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Okay, you ready? Let's do this. Let's go and meet today's incredibly special guest, the amazing César Lüttger. César Lüttger. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Your surname. No, wait. I said your surname wrong. It's Lüttger. Now, how do you say it, man?
César Lüttger. César Lüttger.
You sound way better at it than I do.
But I find César Lüttger just as fine. César Lüttger. But I guess what will happen with the way that you pronounce it, for instance, in Dutch, that a lot of people will like forget immediately because they're like, I don't know how to pronounce that.
I'm kind of still getting my head around Spanish, so I probably would have called you César. Because that's how, like, you know, I know people here called Caesar, but they're here they're called César. So I probably would have called you César rather than César. But Lut, because of the umlaut on the U, no. So I would have got Lüttger, but the G really confuses me. In Spanish, G is G.
It sounds like the same.
It's kind of the same, like Lüttger.
Lüttger, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, it's not Lu, but Lu, so it's like
Lüttger. Lüttger.
Yeah.
Okay, you sound almost professional saying that, so I'm going to stick with your version.
I've been saying it for like all my life. let's go with the English version. That's totally fine.
Welcome, Mister, to the Jaden Show. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
I'm loving the backdrop. All of a sudden, I just feel this whole kind of sense of calm and tranquility just because of your backing. It's amazing, mate. It's really lovely.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I had to like my computer is on a little moving desk, and I can also like lower it and put it higher. And I was like figuring out what's the best position. So I actually in the studio is a real mess because I'm recording an album at the moment, and so there's like cables and everything and mics, but they're out of the frame. So if I would like turn the computer this way, you would be like, holy shit, that's
lovely. Well, I had this an author a couple of weeks ago. She's phenomenal, and behind her she was in the kitchen, but it was like plants and fresh vegetables and salads, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. She went, no. She goes, I had to place everything in front of the chopping boards with fish, and otherwise it would have been a mess. So I'm loving how you guys are committing to this interview. That's absolutely wonderful.
Oh, thanks.
Now tell me, we've just heard the song Willow. Completely melted me. Such a beautiful song. Such an incredibly talented guy, Mister. How did it all start for you? Like, I want to take you way back. So when you're kind of running around your living room, your family room, or whatever situation you're in back in that day, what was going on around you again? Was classical music part of that environment? You know, like, how did it all start for you?
Well, so I in the home that I grew up with, we had a piano. We still actually have the piano. So that's basically how it started. I went to piano lessons at the age of 5, so that's when I had my first lessons, and that's kind of early, I guess, but also it's not uncommon. Because I also teach piano a few hours a week, and I've had like also like 5-year-olds, so it's just like a broad range. I started at 5, and the thing is that I do really remember is that composing became a part of it already from an early age on. And it just started with a few notes, for instance. So you would have like maybe I was 6 at the time. Then you would have your first little performance at the music school. And then I still remember that I was like, oh, but wait, I have composed a little something, and that was maybe 5 notes or something, very short, like sure that the people would be like, that's all, you know, and then the clap, of course, out of politeness, and I was like,
really,
but yeah, but that's it. That's a funny thing. So
I think that's amazing because I think at 6 years old I was still learning to tie my shoelaces. So you're already way above.
Well, you know, it's like an intuitive thing with music. I mean, you just hit the right notes. I mean, there are a lot of things I couldn't do at 6, of course.
So,
And,
were your family? Did you have a musical family? Do you come from a musical background?
well, I come from, I would say, more like there's artistry in my family. So my grandfather, for instance, is an art painter, and there's definitely the creative side that runs through the family. But I'm like the first, as far as I know, the first professional musician and composer. So in the family, like music would have been a hobby, and still is. But then I made it into a profession. Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So you're from the Netherlands. What are you? Netherlands born and bred?
Yeah, Amsterdam actually. So born and raised in
Really?
Amsterdam.
So you're still living in your home. You're still living in your hood.
I'm still living in the hood. Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Love
exactly.
it, mate. Love it.
Yeah, never, never really get down.
If music was like a bit of a hobby, what music was going on around you back in those early kind of stages of your life?
Well, that's pretty hard to tell when I look back at it. I think there was some classical music in the house, definitely at certain times. The thing is that I was very much interested in classical music, especially when I was a younger kid. I can definitely remember that there were certain pieces by Beethoven, for instance, like the Mondschein Sonata, or like people know it maybe better as the Moonlight Sonata. That was something I really wanted to be able to play already from quite an early age, and I think I gave a performance with that when I was like 11 or something.
Really?
Yeah. So, well, the first movement, then, not the virtuosic third movement. I'm
Bloody
able
impressive.
yeah. So that I do know that I had that's very much that interest in certain pieces, and like going back in the past, I also with the composing also went a bit further. Like at age 9, there was a little festival and I performed a composition there. I think for the first time, also on piano. So that's a little bit how it all started. But after that, you know, you have your years of just the classical music training, and then of course interest started to diversify a little bit. I went into DJing as well, and I really loved it back in the day. House, techno music, awesome stuff.
Okay, so real like eclectic mix.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and you know, I would make a certain a way of playing on the piano would make me feel also like it was dance music, and then I would, for instance, make pieces of music with that. So that was, now we're already talking in the teens, basically. You know,
I don't want to show off here. Very impressed that you know what you're doing at the age 11, but I just wanted to let you know that I had learnt to tie my shoelaces at that age.
Yes.
Already mastering that.
I think I kind of gave up and used those shoes where they have like the clip.
The Velcro thing.
The Velcro, exactly.
Now I would buy a pair because now I really haven't got time to tie shoelaces. I just
For me now it went the other way around. You know, it's like you're mostly in formal clothing, and then the shoes are also formal, but it's like these little tiny laces all the time. And I'm like, you go somewhere, you know, you need to take your shoes off for it. So I'm like, you kidding me? You know, you have any idea how long it takes?
Yeah, crazy, man.
Yeah.
So, do you miss the DJing, or is that still something you kind of do little bits of?
Well, I don't really miss it because this is a few years back. I did buy a device, you know, where you can like DJ on. And I bought it was really quite an expensive one actually, because I was like, okay, well, this has like the mixer and the like sort of CDJ decks, but now it's all digital, of course.
Yeah.
And then I never really was able to get into it anymore, and I eventually sold it again. But the thing is, I do work together with a buddy of mine who is a dance producer, and then we made a remix the other day, and unfortunately it got declined. But of course we're not gonna like stop there, you know. It's like and there will probably be other projects coming from that as well. But I kind of decided like I shouldn't really do this on my own anymore, because I have been producing dance in the past, and I'm just not really a computer guy. You know, it's like
Really?
yeah. It's I mean, I'm glad if I can like record my piano and stuff and know how to edit that. You know, but,
Yeah.
but it's just days behind the computer. I just don't have the patience for it.
So, do you still, like, when you're having your downtime, right? Do you listen to classical music, or is that now kind of work mode? So, do you still go back to like techno and dance, or are there any other genres of music that you kind of sit back and enjoy?
It depends on the moment, I guess. I definitely listen to a lot of genres of music, and absolutely classical music. I still do, and I really enjoy it as well. And not only listening just for my enjoyment, but also like to get inspired, and I can get really, you know, excited about, for instance, orchestral music and all those kind of things. But I sometimes listen to dance, but not so frequent. It's more when I'm driving the car.
Okay, yeah.
And that's usually also when you start really speeding, and it's better if I don't do that anymore because
Yeah, you
I
can't really compose from jail, mate. So, you know, let's be honest.
no, exactly, no. So I'm trying not to listen to that music during driving anymore. I like 80s pop rock, for instance, you know, or for instance having a drink, you know, in the evening, and then putting some of that music on. So it depends very much on the moment itself. And I also really am very conscious of the fact how music is, you know, an influencer. So, for instance, I can also really enjoy just having silence around me and be like, okay, you know, I don't want to get into a certain mood because the music will bring me in that, and then I just choose not to listen to anything, even for instance in the car.
Yeah, no, I'm completely. When I lived in London, always had background music on, always. But now I live in the countryside where there's nothing. I tend to only listen to music in the car, or when I'm cleaning, or if I've got to practice some new songs for a show. That's kind of it now. Now I'm kind of like, you kind of realise how musical nature is, to be fair. You know? And it doesn't lead to depression or me wanting to dance on the table or, you know, anything like this. It's it just allows you to be, and that's quite cool, especially when you're surrounded by music all the time, when it's part of your profession. Sometimes it's nice just to like have nothing. It's crazy. What is the most obscurest artist or genre on your playlists that you listen to? Who would people think, nah, he's never going to listen to, I don't know, gypsy folk or something like that? I mean, like, what is kind of like the weirdest thing that you have that no one really would believe that you listen to that? Or do you not? Are you very kind of...
Oh, let me think. There's so many stuff. There's so many things in my playlists. There's this one song. I mean, it might be a little bit more classical, but it's definitely not really classical music. But it's just like only female vocals, and it has a very tight rhythm and everything. I think there's maybe even like the finger snaps in there. But
so like an acapella.
Yeah, an acapella track or something. And I would have never been able to find that if I don't even know how I got to it, but somebody probably showed me, or I heard it. I think I heard it in a store, and I was like, Shazam it quickly because I really liked it. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could definitely enjoy more of that kind of music, but I had no idea where to find it, you know. So it's just this one little track that's there, and I'm like, I find it really cool that I have it, you know. Yeah.
Wow. So when you're not composing and recording and doing shows, what do you do in your downtime? What relaxes?
Well, I'm currently in the midst of finding things to relax with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no.
And you chose the Jaden show. Not sure that was the
exactly. Well, you know, this is more relaxing than not knowing what to do. So,
can I thank you?
Yeah. What do I do to relax? Well, sometimes it's just going out a little, you know, going for a drink, for instance. I can find it really nice to just hang out with some friends, but that doesn't really happen that often. I also notice, like, I'm somebody that really doesn't have a tight schedule. So, for instance, it can happen easily that I'll work till 11, for instance, and maybe take like an hour, watch a series, and then just, you know, like tie off. That's, I think, basically the day. And I also work a lot in the evening. So during the week, with teaching and with rehearsing and doing shows. A lot of these things are all in the evening, which I did on purpose as well, because living in a city means usually that you also have neighbors around you. So when you have an instrument like this is of course a very loud instrument. So I was kind of also planning my fixed work around that, being like, if I want to practice and compose, I'll better do it during the day instead of having it the other way around. So
I guess kind of on the opposite of that as well. If you've got neighbors and people, you've got like people honking their horns outside and kids screaming in the street, and all of a sudden, like, it also being a composer in the evenings, probably not the fact that you're protecting people from your noise, because your noise is amazing, but also you're being protected from the noise of when everyone gets home from work as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true actually. And then I'll be heading off for other work, So yeah, that works really well. What else do I do? Well, like I said, I have two cats. I really enjoy, for instance, just spending some time with the cats, and other things. It really just depends. Sometimes I can just take it easy. Yeah.
Your friendship group, are they musical or are they kind of non-musical but just incredibly supportive? Or when you go out with your friends, is music almost the last thing you want to talk about?
Yeah, I would say that they're basically, most of them are actually in music. Yeah. So for instance, I got a friend who I studied at the conservatory with. Then there's people I meet up with that I just know also from music places. For instance, the producer guy I just mentioned.
Yep.
And also, for instance, just people that I'm in a theater group with. So one of these things I do on a weekly basis is accompany theater groups, all on improvised basis. So they do improvisation on stage. This is more like in the comedy scene.
Okay.
And they need a pianist. And like 1.5 years ago, I got asked to join them. And I was like, improvisation, I'm not so sure about it. They were like, no, you can do it. And I was like, how do you even know that I can do it? And then I came home, and then I was like, well, it's probably not that different from composing. The only difference basically is that you need to know exactly what to do on the right moment.
And you're in front of an audience.
And you're in front of an audience, and you can't really fuck it up. You might be able to say that on YouTube. I guess.
No, of course you can.
Yeah, we can? Okay, very good.
Otherwise, I would have been banned 4 years ago, so yeah.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. So, so that's the thing. You just must make sure that you don't really make a lot of mistakes. Whereas in composing, and you'll just noodle around and be like, this is not it. And maybe even for weeks struggle on like a passage, and you're like, I can't freaking find out what to do over here.
Yeah. So do you are you just playing music in a comedy, or are you a comedian as well?
No, I'm not a comedian. No, they've been saying like,
I think you could be. You're quite a funny guy. You're very chatty.
Yeah.
I think this could be your next forte.
I don't know if I want to though.
Where is the problem?
The thing is, when I really try to be funny, I'm usually not funny. You try to be funny in a group, and then there's like no laughs at all, and you're like,
just silence and like.
It's like, why do other people, when they make a joke and really make an effort for it, why is it actually funny and not when I do it? So I'm like, but of course I do have a stage presence. So for instance, yesterday evening we had a show, and then you always get called on, you're being introduced on the stage, like, here's our pianist, and then I'll make a huge bow and everything. I'll be like, just
a theatrical darling.
Yeah, faking the theatrical thing, but then
like it. Okay, well, at least you know where you're best placed. This is always working to your strengths. This is really good, right?
That's true. Yeah. I always say that. It's like I'll just sit behind the piano. This is way more comfortable for me than being there on stage. Your
little comfort zone. Although not so by the size of that piano. Who were your influences growing up? Obviously you mentioned Beethoven and stuff like that. But who were your? Are there any like current composers that really inspire you at the moment?
Well, composer from the past that really inspired me. I think the images. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can see you perfectly.
Oh, okay, great. Well, definitely from the past, I would say Beethoven, Chopin, Rachmaninoff. Those are really the influences. And the pieces of music I still love to play. So, like what I write for instance, well, there's a difference between the two artist pages that I have, of course, the César Lüttger and the Nicola Lüttger. Like the Nicola Lüttger is more peaceful, and I would say it has less notes than certain pieces of mine on César Lüttger. But then, for instance, Rachmaninoff is very virtuosic, and Chopin, and I really enjoy playing that. So those are really my influences of the past. And today, yeah, there are definitely a lot of composers I definitely listen to, but I would say it's way more a whole bunch of composers that I like a certain track of, but then not particularly everything that type of composer makes. So it's you become way more, looking for the certain pieces of music that inspire you. Yeah.
I'm really pleased I found you, because I was very addicted to, probably going to say their name wrong, but is it Yeruma?
Yeah, Yeruma, yeah.
Yeah, I said it right. Wow, that's amazing. So yeah, very, very addicted to him and his work for a long time. So now I'm moving over to César Lüttger as well. But yeah, so I was really, really loved his work. Tell me, so you've got two projects. You've got your project, César Lüttger, and you've got Nicolas Lüttger as well. So why? What is the difference between the two? Why are you splitting them up and not just being the man that creates everything? Tell us the reasons.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Nicola Lüttger kind of started when I was signed to the label, a piano label here in the Netherlands called Aragosta Piano. And they signed me in the summer of 2023. And then the question arose, like, hey, what are we going to do with the artist name? And then we had a little talk about it, me and the label boss. And they were like, it's maybe not the best thing to have the classical side, which has, for instance, my peaceful works, but also my more virtuosic works and more the pieces with more notes, and then have the peaceful felt piano sound, and then mix it together. And that's a thing that is kind of common practice, I guess, especially on these streaming platforms. And they go really far with that, I believe. I believe even, like, for instance, techno artists that do a little bit of house would, for instance, already take a different artist name just to split the two. And then I was like, oh yeah, okay, so that kind of works here as well, because Nicolas Lüttger is actually releasing music which has the dampened sound.
Okay.
The dampened piano sound. So a piano like this would sound like a piano.
Yeah.
Bright, and it has the full range of overtones and everything. But then what happens in this genre of peaceful felt piano, that's why we call it felt piano, is that there's a part of felt which is actually being hung between the strings and the hammers. So the hammers will not hit the strings immediately.
And that's controlled by the pedal, right?
Yeah, so if you have an upright piano, then usually your middle pedal will be this practice pedal, and that's actually when a piece of felt comes down, and then it's that's where it originated from. You can practice playing piano and not disturb, for instance, anybody in the house or the neighbors. And then eventually, I guess somewhere, what would it be, like 15 years ago, 20 years ago, this thing became more popular, of people writing pieces with this very dampened sound. Yeah, and then for these peaceful playlists, basically people put it in the background. So let's see, where did I get to this? So that's the difference. So the first difference then. So César Lüttger doesn't use this felt piano.
Okay.
And then Nicola Lüttger does. So there's already a very clear distinction of why I needed the second name, because it would have been like it would have been too much of a mix of different genres. Now the thing is, of course, that I have a grand piano, and a felt is not really common on a grand piano.
Yeah.
So I needed to devise a whole way of putting felt in there. I basically did, but
how did you do it? Like a couple of old socks over the.
No, there's actually a piece of felt, but it's like different parts, and then I use magnets. So I strung them in there, and then I use magnets to like put them in the front.
I would have been mortified if on that beautiful piece of instrument behind you there were like 6 socks hanging up inside. That would
I know. That'd be crazy.
Quite sad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But no, that's basically the main reason. And I think afterwards I also figured out that if a label releases my music, then there's a certain interval in which we do that. And we started with a 3-week interval of releasing tracks. Then we went to 4 weeks. And now it's a little bit more free because I was taking some time off also, to spend on other things also with the moving. So that it's no problem. If you already have quite a lot of tracks out, you can also take a little bit of a break and then just, resume the release schedule again. But so what happens is when you, for instance, on Spotify, you release a track, you can pitch it to the editorial team. So the biggest playlists on digital streaming platforms are usually by the platform itself. So Spotify, for instance, has a whole editorial team. Well, if you can get into one of those playlists, you'll get tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands or even millions of streams because the playlist is just so popular. So what happens is if you release every 4 weeks, let's say, then you give a pitch that all goes online. You pitch to the editorial team. Now you do it as long as in advance as possible. The only thing is that if you have everything on one artist name and you also release on the César Lüttger, you can't really pitch your César Lüttger music anymore. So I kind of figured out this is pretty nice that I actually have 2 names because I can do it simultaneously and not have this whole pitching situation. Wow. But there is of course the downside that people tend to find it a little bit complicated sometimes. They'll be like, hey, is that your twin brother or something? And I think they really mean it, because there was a bit of multiple.
I was thinking the same. So yeah, we do. Yeah. Not all of us are particularly intelligent. So, it's
it's like, yeah, what else could it be? You use the same picture, right? So
exactly. Do you find that your fans cross over? I mean, do they end up supporting both your styles of work?
Usually the people that I actually meet myself or that I, for instance, notify of the artist pages that I have, because Nicola Lüttger is more is being more streamed actually by audiences that listen to specific playlists designed to play these peaceful felt piano tracks. So I don't think that the majority of the people listening to me is actually really listening to the artist profile itself so much as to when I'm in a playlist.
Of course.
Yeah. Because that's a little bit the game that that this is around. It's like, okay, so Spotify makes, for instance, peaceful piano is a big playlist. Calm and Focused is a small one, but I've been in that one multiple times now. So then people just put it on the background, listen to it, but it doesn't really mean that they always look for who is this artist, and these lists are like hundreds of tracks long. Yeah.
Do you find that? Obviously, do you have a way of connecting the two in social media, so people that will go and find out who you are can also go and check out César's work as well?
Yeah, I try to do that actually. So I must say I find social media kind of complicated, especially to maintain a certain rhythm into posting and making reels, for instance, and especially if you have two profiles. So on Instagram, that's the only place I actually have the 2 profiles. I have the César Lüttger and I've got the Nicola Lüttger. And then the only thing I managed to do is basically make a reel on César Lüttger, but it can be the Nicola Lüttger piece, but then not with the felt piano. And then I'll be like, I need to post it on Nicola Lüttger as well. But then I just I try the link and I put it in the story and I'll be like, okay, if you now click on César Lüttger, then you'll get to see the reel. I don't really think people do it a lot, especially not since I don't have a lot of followers yet. It's like it's like only a few hundred or something, and I should really make an effort into growing that. But
you'll have another 4 or 5 after this show you watch.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, well, that's awesome.
Do you have a preference? Which one of your split personalities do you prefer to be, or are they both equally as gratifying?
The other thing is, I try to actually promote César Lüttger as the whole thing, so as the main artist. Mainly for the reason because I've written so much under that name. I've next to piano, I've written also for symphony orchestra, a choir and organ, and had these pieces before. Or for instance, a reed quintet, which was already years ago, but they found it online and they performed it in Vancouver, Canada. And I'm mainly César Lüttger, but Nicola Lüttger is just the alias for the peaceful felt piano. But the nice thing about it is that because there was so much more action in that profile, and there's so much more streams and listeners. I mean, by far, to be honest, with the label being behind it, I do really take it very seriously. I'm like, I love the genre. I love writing it. More actually since I've been composing specifically for the label, because like years ago, I would have probably been like, no, that's too simple, And then now I feel like, it's actually really nice to maybe play something that's not that hard, but then you can go so much further music in the musicality of it, and just make a story with it. But the thing is, I am gonna release them also under my César Lüttger, because like I said, Nicola Lüttger is with the felt piano, and the Willow you just showed, that's of course not with the felt piano because it's on the grand piano. So I really want to have these versions out as well, and then I call it the Peaceful Collection, and that will be on the César Lüttger. Yeah, it's actually not going to take that long before that one comes out, because I'm in the midst of recording that.
I was about to ask you actually, what is going on for you at the moment? What is going on for both of you at the moment?
Well, Nicola Lüttger is getting back to the writing table, I guess, for an upcoming release. I would say in March probably. So
okay, wow, that's quite soon.
Yeah, and then from then on, it will probably be monthly again. That's at least the plan. César Lüttger has a lot of things also in the making. Like I said, the album that I really want to release, well, it's basically going to consist of the 15 peaceful piano tracks that I wrote for Nicola Lüttger at the moment. And I'm still in doubt whether I'm going to release it as a single at first and then put the album out afterwards, or because that's maybe logical algorithm wise for Spotify. But I'm also feeling like, but I mean, if you have the whole album, then it's more pleasing for the audience. Of course, they can just listen to everything immediately. Else you gotta wait for another month for the next one. I don't know. It's like I think I'll go for the album, to be honest.
Lots of writing, lots of recording, and lots of decision making. It seems at the moment.
Yeah, especially that. Lots of decision making. I'm making the sheet music. It's something I wish I would have just had a certain routine in. That just doesn't always happen. I mean, not all of the music I wrote by now has always been written down. Actually,
right.
Everything that's basically online is written down. I mean, because else it just becomes too much. You can actually forget pieces if you just don't play them anymore for time. Yeah. That's just really sad. But I got like a piano concerto in the making, which is the symphony orchestra with a solo piano. I don't think I've ever really written everything down for that one just yet. I'm just making sure I'm playing it every now and then, so I just keep it in there.
Man, come on, you've got plenty of time on your hands. You should be
Yeah, no, exactly. That's the whole thing, It's like you make these choices. You're like,
don't have time to execute everything. This is the
thing. Yeah. So,
do you play any other instruments? You don't need to, but do you? You don't.
I don't really know. So I bought some recorders a whole lot of years ago when I was still at the Conservatory of Amsterdam. Mm. I was like, I want to do something with the breath, with the wind, and I still really like the idea. But then, you delve into it for a while. You know the fingering of the recorder. You're like, that's nice, a tenor recorder. It has a more low sound, and then you put it aside for a couple of months eventually, and you forget the fingering.
Yeah.
I used to tried a little bit of violin because we had a certain type of lesson at the conservatory, which was writing for strings. And that's one of these things I would have wished I had done in the past, like next to piano, I would have loved to be able to play the violin, but that just came too late. When you're like 20, 26 years old and you're starting with the lessons, and you're like, let's see if we can still do it. You're like, no, this is too late.
I started piano when I was young. And I think I got to grade 3 in 9 months or something like that. And then I kind of done really, really well. And then when my parents said, "We'll buy you," we couldn't afford a piano, but my parents said, "We'll buy you this kind of like full octave keyboard, but you will have to practice for 2 hours every night. This is how we roll." And I was like, "Yeah, of course I will, of course I will." But then I was getting to that stage where I really wanted to watch like Top of the Pops, like music programs on TV at a certain time, and I didn't practice, and then that was it. Never played piano again. So really bad. So maybe when I grow up, I might, I might try it. But I'm in my 50s now, so I kind of think that's probably not going to happen. But
Um,
I'm even with my chopsticks now. This is the sad thing. I was like, yeah. So I do need to, but no, it's my favorite instrument. Like my favorite instrument. It's just. Yeah, it really takes you on like emotional, spiritual journeys. I just think it's an incredible, incredible instrument. So, what are your future plans apart from world domination? Where do you see both of you go? It's really weird, like you're schizophrenic. Where do you see both of you going? Or maybe it's just maybe this could be like your new pronouns and what you identify. I identify it as
and then
piano players,
and then people find it normal all of a sudden.
Me too. I'm they and them. Like, I'm so not.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, but you could. So what are your plans for both of you?
Well, yeah, the plans are indeed world domination. I mean, becoming a big star, and let me think. I mean, yeah, becoming a big star is of course that's of course perfect, but that would be the consequence, I guess, of the thing I would really love, which is of course that the music goes out to as many
Everyone
people.
hears your music.
Yeah. Well, César Lüttger, the plan is basically to just compose whatever is inside. I feel that's the most important thing. I mean, I'm still young, but of course you're turning past 30, and you'll be a little bit more like, okay, the sort of pieces that you really want to have written. If you, for instance, think like, what if you're 80 years old? What would you like to have written at least? And then there's definitely a whole bunch of things I can name, which is not only piano repertoire. It's like I said, the symphonic repertoire I would really love to write, and I'm working on it. But the incentive is just a little bit lacking, because there's so much more going on with the piano right now, and also with concerts and with gigs that's really starting to grow. So it feels like the other projects I really feel I have inside me. I just really need to have the intrinsic motivation for that, instead of there being a commission, for instance, an orchestra saying, okay, but we want to give you this commission. That would make it easier, because then you would be like, okay, now I got to write for this because there's a deadline, and then it would work like that. So that's always been the thing, I'm trying to balance, like, okay, what is the thing that is making money right now, and what is the thing that has more momentum going on, compared to what is this other thing you feel you need to do. So that's a César Lüttger thing. I think it will encapsulate a whole lot of things, actually, in the classical realm then. And Nicola Lüttger, I really want it to grow as it does, preferably even faster.
Are you still signed to the record label?
Yeah, I definitely.
Oh, okay. So you're still.
I'm still writing for it. I still really enjoy, being signed to the label and releasing music on there. And I think that's a very big win-win situation as well, because basically Nicola Lüttger makes me write the Peaceful Felt piano pieces that later turn out all without the felt.
César will steal and put his name to it. And
exactly. Yeah. So it's a big win-win, But the thing is, most of my concerts at the moment are like in residential houses for the elderly, and I was always playing repertoire that had more a mix of some more loud pieces and then some more calmer pieces, and then eventually I was like, okay, let's do the peaceful collection now. And I was like, okay, I've no idea how this goes. Maybe people find it too simple, for instance, and then it's like such a success. It's like, oh wow, everybody loves it immensely, and I'm like, who would have known? But I can actually imagine, because it's a hugely popular genre, actually.
Did you ever hear of a piano player? Because he was really superbly huge when I was a kid, but he was doing like all like the rock covers and the like piano. His name was Richard Clayderman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so he was like on every single TV program in England back in the day,
Oh really?
like
Okay.
everything. And then, and then nothing. Like I don't even know whether he's even still alive or anything. I don't even know if he's still playing the piano or anything. But he was really big. So you're doing all these things. Is there going to be like a heavy rock kind of cover album coming out in 20 years time or something like that? Or
Maybe I don't know. Because I have been playing in a band every now and then, just for fun.
Yeah.
And there's this bar here in Amsterdam in the middle of the center where we actually also went on stage. And I must say it's like an awesome energetic thing, having a band with a drummer and a guitar.
yeah.
It's really really awesome, but I mean I needed to make choices. So also with the dance music, you just feel in my case like, okay, where's your niche, and especially what are you really good at? And I just noticed like, hey, these are the things I'm really good at, and these other things are always never really gotten a reaction from the audience like, oh my god, this is amazing what you do. And I'm like, that happened with the piano and with the classical side. So I kind of felt like, okay, maybe the other things you can do every now and then, but definitely make it a collaboration, because there's for instance with the producing behind the computer, oh my god, these guys that know their shit, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, it was like a funny thing was the other day we were in the studios a few weeks back, the end of the last year, and I was working together with this producer, and I was like, no, we should make a snare riff, and we have to do it in a certain way with different snares, and then we layer it in different audio, and then eventually I gave him the ID, and I was like, you know what I mean, right? Okay, now fix it. And I was like, you just need to like work on this. I have no patience for this annoying computer stuff.
I just don't get it, and you could probably explain it to me, and I still wouldn't get it. I go in there and go, oh, it's really pretty, lots of colours. Love that. It's really nice. Can we change that? Can we change that red to like more of a purpley, because then it will go really lovely with the green and the turquoise. So they're like, yeah, but that's just the voice colour. I'm like, I don't care. I want it to look prettier. So that's my involvement with production, mate. That's kind of it. What would you say has been your, apart from the Jaden show, obviously, what has been kind of like the pinnacle of your career so far? Your most favourite time that you think, oh man, so excluding, you don't have to mention me just because I'm here, but
I said it already in the pre-talk. I said like, hey, this is my first YouTube interview, and all the audience can definitely know that. So this is one of the pinnacles, absolutely.
It's been said. I have to admit.
It's difficult to like name one thing. I think I can basically name that I'm probably in the time period at the moment in which the most things are happening. So when I graduated from the conservatory, there was like, I would say like maybe a 5-year time span in which not a whole lot happened actually. It was just writing and trying to get it out there, but it just didn't get the momentum as much as I was hoping. And since like 1.5 years, things really started taking off more. And at the point that I'm actually, having to decline certain kind of offers.
Wow, amazing.
For instance, because I'm just like, I really need to go this certain direction, and I can't just take all these directions. It's just like I have a pretty clear vision now in front of me. Like I want this to happen. So yeah, I think the pinnacle is where I'm at right now. For me at least. I mean, at this moment, I think this will.
How old are you now?
I'm 33.
Oh, you got like another 80 years ahead of you, mate.
Yeah. So now let's say 60.
Okay, yeah, about the same age, about my age then. Thanks, that's really nice. So, now that's amazing. So you've got plenty of years to not only develop and evolve and define and to become a man with world domination. This is super exciting. Exactly. I really do hope at some point when you're kind of, sell out, when you're doing live at Madison Square Gardens and stuff like this, I do hope that you will still come back and go, oh, I'm going to go and chat and tell Jaden about it. That would be really lovely. So I want to thank you so much for your time today. I want to thank you for not declining me. Many people have over the years. So
really? Oh, no. Well, that's their loss then, of course. I mean,
right,
Yeah.
It's all right. I have therapy once a week. It's cool. Like, it don't matter anything. I don't take it personally.
I love being on the show, man. It's just been really fun. Yeah.
When your albums are out, we'll do a Jaden show special. Come back and tell me, and we'll do little like mini shows just to
That'd
kind
be
of
great.
your album, your new single, your world tour, your I don't know, the new movie that your compositions are in. So we can do all of that. That would be super great.
Sounds great.
Maybe before I'm dead. So you've got about 23 years. Maybe before, no, maybe how old are they to? What am I, 51? No, let's go for 30. Let's go for 30, 35 years, right? We
right.
need to do a collaboration at some point.
Yeah, that sounds good as well. Absolutely.
So put that, when you have a quiet period, which is probably never going to happen, but when you do have a quiet period, I'm going to do something with that Jaden boy. That would be really cool.
I'll be like, I'll send him over that piano track, and then let's see what kind of
Let's
lyrics.
see what he can come up with. Absolutely.
Exactly. It actually happened in the past already. I had one of these releases, and then a girl I also work with in the theater world, she was like, I just made a lyric, I just made a song on it, and then she sang it to me, and I was like, that really sounds very, very good. It's really awesome actually when that happens. Yeah. So
I'm going to say, I told you about the guy in New Zealand that composed the instrumental piece, and I was listening to it, and I was like, within 5 minutes I'd written this whole kind of concept and top line and melody and stuff like that. And literally, I said, I literally the next morning went to the studio and recorded it as a rough demo and emailed it to him. I was living 4 hours away from London at the time, so I recorded it and sent it by email the minute before I left. And with a note, which was, I thought, it wasn't too desperate sounding. It was along the lines of, please, I'll do anything. Let me record this song.
Yeah.
I was keeping it kind of real. And then by the time I got to London, there was an email reply saying, it's yours, mate. You just use it. I'll send you, it's called Gladness Crawling. I'll send you a copy of it on Facebook and that. But yeah, it was really lovely. So we do need to do something in the future. That will be wonderful. That would be wonderful. Just before your world domination, because I don't.
Exactly. Then it will go into that.
I don't want to destroy anything. I don't want everyone to go away. But he did work with Jaden, so maybe he needs to work a little bit longer before we world dominate and that. But César, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your niceness, and I also really, really appreciate your talent and your passion for your art. It's really amazing. People at home, you've seen him, you've met him. You obviously love him. So you can find, running underneath this interview, a whole plethora of places on social media where you can find him. I suggest, before you have finished your cup of coffee and chocolate biscuit, that you go and check this brother out on all of his social media platforms for both of his identities. Okay, but they'll all be listed, and they're also listed in the title page of this video as well. So go and show brothers some love, support, listen to some phenomenal music, follow him, share him, like him, comment him, subscribe to him, do whatever you can to show this brother some love and support. That would be amazing. César, thank you. We will be in contact. I'm going to start writing, I don't know, some ideas down for the next 20 years. I'll keep a little book for my César project. That's really cool. And we'll be in touch when your album is ready.
Absolutely, let's do it. Well, thanks for having me, and then I really enjoyed it. So awesome. Thanks again.
Have a wonderful new week, and we'll catch up soon.
You too. Catch up soon.
See you later, sir. Hasta luego. Bye, mate.
Bye.
What a superbly cool guy. César, thank you so much for being part of my show. Really appreciate your time. People at home, I thank you as well for joining me and César today. I hope you've had a really, really, really lovely time watching this show. I know I've had an incredible time making it. And I'm also very excited that I know that you guys are going to go and show that guy some love and support straight after this show by following him on his social media platforms. Please make sure you do that. The guy's incredible, and you do need to be showing that guy some support. I have had a lovely day. I am not going to leave you without any more music. Obviously, we are going to watch another video of his called Contemplation in just a couple of minutes. But I want to say that thank you so much for allowing us into your living room today. I'll be back next week with another incredibly wonderful person. Can't wait to introduce them to you as well. I'm very, very lucky. In the meantime, please make sure you have subscribed to this channel. Please make sure you have commented. Please make sure you have liked. Please make sure you share this episode as well. That would be great. And if you get bored and you've got a few minutes free in the week, you can come and check me out on all of my social media platforms as well. Don't forget, go and show Cesar some love and support. That is your homework for this week. I'm going to leave you with contemplation, and I will see you next Sunday on the Jaden Show. Be good, take care, stay beautiful. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.